let me take the egg off my face. It was about this time last year that I suggested to Roosters coach Trent Robertson that he couldn't win the grand final with Anthony Minichiello at fullback. Not only did he win the grand final, but Mini had the best season that he's had since 2005. He just had a terrific, very consistent season, and you could tell that leadership really enhanced his game. He enjoyed being the skipper on the field, no doubt about that. And you could tell that a lot of the young guys thrived under him. It was a brilliant decision, and I'm sure that I wasn't the only person to put pressure on Robbo to put somebody else in at fullback. And they have a brilliant young kid in Roger Tuivasa-Sheck who's waiting in the wings and very well could be the best fullback that New Zealand's ever seen. But he held the position on the wing all year simply because Mini was doing his job. Now, Roger had a leg break in the World Cup, and he's only just come back, and he looks like he'll be right to start in round 1, but whether or not he's going to be at full fitness from a cardiovascular type of thing to actually claim that number 1 position, I would very much doubt it, certainly in the early part of the season. You'd like to think from the future of the club that Mini and Roger will move over at some stage, and to have Mini as Roger's mentor from a wing position would be just a perfect scenario in terms of developing his game. And just on Roger, he just looks bigger and better than he's ever been before. He got the Winger of the Year last year, and then he went to the World Cup and had an absolute blinder. He looked like he had spiders on him. He was untouchable. He can actually step off both feet, and he's so strong in a tackle, and I think he has the potential to develop good ball skills once he learns to read the game. He's a highly intelligent guy, a potential captain one day, you would think. And I know highly thought of by everyone who works with him. So really looking forward to that continued progress by Roger. Look, it wasn't only Roger and Mini who thrived last year. Absolutely every player on the Roosters list improved under the new coach, Trent Robertson. And I can't think of one player who went backwards. That's a monumental rap on the coach that they can prove some of the guys. And some of the guys were young, so you'd expect them to prove, but some of them weren't. Some of them have been around for a long while, and they had the best season that I've seen them have in a long while. Their halfback, who's their most important player, Mitch Pearce, he had the best season that I've ever seen him have at the Roosters. And if he keeps on that progress, he, for the first time, will look like a genuine State of Origin halfback. Now, he hasn't actually returned that form at Origin level, but we could see that he played like an Origin player in many of those big games for the Roosters. And when the big crunch pressure games come on, he handled it very, very well. And you can see aspects of his game in terms of talking, in terms of tactical kicking that are just getting better and better. So that's just monumental. Now, look, they've lost Luke O'Donnell, which was another one of those old and tested players who had a terrific year last year. But Luke's decided to retire, and look, there's no question he's a loss. He was an absolute rock, and nobody liked being tackled by Luke O'Donnell. But with him gone, they get the outstanding French forward, Remi Casty. Now, he went terrific in the World Cup. While I actually thought he would go better than what he went, and I haven't seen a lot of him at Super League level, but I'm told he is a class prop forward, and you'd think he'll come here, and obviously the coach knows him very well, being a former Catalans coach. He wouldn't have brought him here just to have a look at the Harbour Bridge. So we'll have to assume that Remi is a very, very good prop forward, and he'll have a good year. It's a very good replacement for Luke O'Donnell. But as far as the ins for the forwards are concerned, they also get a fit Kane Evans, who was injured last year. And in terms of attack, he's a brilliant young player, and he's been a star in the under-20s for several years now. And very looking forward to him having a solid year at first grade coming off the bench, Kane Evans. He has some deficiencies in defence, but under this coaching team at the Roosters, you'd think that they'll sort that out. And if Kane can get his defence right, you know that his forward and his go forward is going to be outstanding. A brilliant young prop forward in Kane Evans. They've brought in from New Zealand, from the New Zealand Warriors, a brilliant young kid called Siua at Taukeiaho, and he's going to be a rep forward back rower in years to come. He has got all the skills, a brilliant athletic-looking young kid, and I expect him to do some very good things for the Roosters. Maybe not this year, but if I think there's some injuries, I think he'll be the first bloke into the 17. But he's very young and got a wonderful future. One of the Roosters' most promising backs, Tautau Moga, let me get that pronunciation right. Some of these Kiwi guys are hard to pronounce, and it's only early in the morning. But I have a massive opinion of Moga. I thought he was going to be that left centre for the Roosters, but that was until they bought Michael Jennings. But, while he will be there to replace any of the centres, Shaun Kenny-Dowall or Michael Jennings, I certainly would have him in place of Daniel Tupou. I think he's got a lot more talent and can do a lot more things with the ball than Daniel Tupou. I've been critical of Daniel all through 2013, mainly because his biggest skill on this earth is he's a wonderful jumper of a ball, takes a magnificent bomb, and I was critical that he didn't take many bombs during the season. And what do you think happened in the grand final? They put 2 beautiful bombs up, and he took 2 beautiful catches, and bingo, they got some brilliant tries that put them back in the game and took them to the lead in the grand final, and ultimately won the grand final for them. So once again, Daniel Tupou is another guy. I'll just get that egg back, if you like. He had a terrific grand final, Daniel Tupou. But having said that, I've got no doubt that Moga is more talented, and Moga would be in my side in front of Tupou. I've got no doubt about that. I think he's a rep player, Moga, and going places, an outstanding young kid. He's also injured, and he's not due back till about April. So when he comes back, I'll expect that he'll put a lot of pressure on that back line for a starting position. We have to understand that this is going to be the swan song for Anthony Minichiello and also their best forward, the great Sonny Williams. Both those players will be saying goodbye to their Roosters fans at the end of this season, and so that's an extra incentive for them to bust their gut. Not that they don't do that every week anyway. So it's always nice, and I'm sure that they'll be trying to go out on a winner. Now, the Roosters established new landmarks in defence last year. I don't think I've ever seen a team that have held so many teams to 0, and certainly 0 in certain quarters and certain halves. It was just amazing the way that they read the defence and they got their technique right in tackling. It was quite brilliant, and the coaching staff needs to take a bow for their defensive record last year. It was ultimately what won them the grand final. As good as what a team this is, and they won the grand final last year, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that the 2014 team is a superior team. So you would have to think that the Roosters will be very hard to beat again, and they certainly will, and they are entitled to be favouritism as the incumbent grand final winners, and it's a superior list in my opinion, based on what we've just talked about, and especially if Roger can go to fullback and he can be as good as what we think he is, because as good as what Mini is, Mini doesn't have the God-given talent that Roger's got. So Roger just needs to be able to be comfortable with that position and be in control and just play to his God-given talent, and he'll be a very, very special fullback in the NRL. Now, stats say that it's almost impossible to win the grand final and back up again and win the grand final again, and also play in a World Club Challenge and win the grand final. The stats are overwhelming to say that you cannot do that. The big thing in the Roosters' favour this year is that they're playing the World Club Challenge in Sydney, and they don't have to travel to the UK. So the big problem with that is in every World Club Challenge that we've seen, it's not a fun game and it's not a gimme game. We can tell by the way it's played that these guys are very serious and they are going full bore. So if you like, it's like Bart Cummings bringing one of his stayers up to reach its peak for a particular race, and then they have to come down again, and then they have to come back up again. And it's not an easy thing to do, to reach your peak before the season starts and then have to time your run so you get it right again for the semi-finals. And that's one of the reasons why a grand finalist and teams that play in the World Club Challenge don't do very well. And the history is overwhelming to say that the Roosters cannot back up and win another grand final. But based on the landmark defence that we saw last year, and based on the coaching team that they've got at the Roosters, if any team can do it, the Roosters can do it. And as I said, they've got a little bit of a leg up here that the World Club Challenge is being played at their home ground in February. Now, having said that, we're coming also from a World Cup, and the Roosters had 16 players in the World Cup backing up as well. Now, that's significant, but it's not that key. They've had a lot of time to overcome that, a few months in fact. So, but it's still football over a 12-month period. So you take the World Cup into account, you take in the 2013 season, and then you take in this World Club Challenge coming up. And it's probably a good reason to oppose the Roosters right at the moment at the price they are. So I couldn't be suggesting that someone charges in and take the $5 or the $5.50 that's on offer at the moment. While I think they're an outstanding side with an outstanding list and do not have too many weaknesses, it's all about price and it's all about value, and I couldn't recommend that you charge in right at the moment. But one thing that I can recommend is that this is an outstanding side, and they'll win just about every game they play. And not only that, they'll be an entertaining team to watch. It's always a privilege to go and see someone like Sonny Bill Wingers play. I've been saying for a long time now that he's the best forward I've ever seen play in rugby league, and that is something that I did say to Trent Robinson 12 months ago. And so yeah, I got one thing right, but to do what he did in the last 12 months was simply quite amazing. I don't think I've seen a coach come in as a rookie and transform a team like he did, and change the way so many players play, how so many players defend, and just go to a new level. I'm talking about players like Michael Jennings, who was really just a brilliant attacking player, and he still is a brilliant attacking player, but he was just rock solid in defence. And it was just amazing, that left side. I thought that would be vulnerable, that left side, with James Maloney and Michael Jennings, but it wasn't. They didn't let many tries in at all. Because they were able to range players like Boyd Cordner and Mitch Aubusson, who are both highly intelligent players, to, if you like, run cover for them, communicate to them, and they got all those key things right in their defence, and it made all the difference. But when you've got some brilliant attack in their side as well, guys that can bust the line, that just is one of the reasons why this is such a brilliant side. And I'm saying to you that as good as what they went last year, they have the potential to go even better. When you bring guys like Moga into the side, and when you bring guys like Roger Tuivasa-Sheck into the side and give him more ball and allow him to run on both right and left and up the middle third of the field, this could be a very, very scary side. So if any team is going to overcome history, it's going to be the Sydney City Roosters. If you follow them, I think you're in for another fun year. Good luck. Cheers.